On the island of Newfoundland, upon the southwest coast, lies the little town of Burgeo, to whom I'll sing this toast. There are so many highlands that lie just off her shore, and when the cold north wind blows, you can hear the billows roar. The people from the village make their living from the sea. They like their independence, it shows that they are free. Some fish in their small boats in the wind, the rain and sleet, while others make their living on the offshore trawler fleet. They've known their share of tragedies down through the years, and when the memories overcome, they show their grief with tears. For they have lost some loved ones to the furies of the seas, for heartaches and heartbreaks are locked in memories. This village, it's got beauty carved on its rugged shore. 7 miles of pure white sand, who could ask for more? The mountains and the valleys where the rivers run so fast, and the salmon rise to the sportsman's fly as he makes another cast. Now the people of this village love their native home, for anyone who goes away most surely will return. Just like that lifelong mystery, the answer you won't know. What makes this rugged village burn so deeply in your soul? What makes this rugged village burn so deeply in your soul?
Good evening, and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight in our stories we have free skate walk at the arena, Burgeo batems midgets hockey game, leaks at the seniors complex, Apple Day, Town Council report. Please stay tuned for these stories and more after this. Try your luck and play TV bingo sponsored by the Sand and Sea Committee. Cards are 6 for $5 and can be bought from any member of the Sand and Sea Committee or in most stores around town. During the month of February was Violence Awareness Month. The Lioness held a free skate walk at the arena. There was a donation container with all proceeds going towards Transition House. Mrs. Thatcher's grade 2-3 class gave out lapel stickers, which also promoted anti-violence. Burgeo Batem Midgets hockey team played against Cox's Cove Batem Midgets hockey team on Saturday, March the 15th. There were 2 games played. Burgeo won the first game 3-1 and also won the second game 7-1. During period change, Linda Porter drove the Zamboni, which cleaned up the ice. Here are a few clips from the game. I was called to the Senior Citizens Complex on Thursday as some of the residents are becoming very upset with the conditions up there. It appears that snow is drifting into the attic part of the building, and when melting, causing leaks and alarms to go off. These alarms going off have really upset the residents, for they do not know if it's a real fire, and they become scared. One of the residents told me that she had been living there for over 14 years, and this is the first time something like this has happened to them. She also stated that with most of the residents being over 80, the fright is too much for them. These alarms are going off at night as well as during the day. They are hoping that something will soon be done to correct the problem. On Thursday, it was Apple Day at Burgeo Academy. The snack program volunteers served a variety of snacks which contained some form of apple. The students and staff were also encouraged to wear red in spirit of Apple Day. The students seemed to enjoy the apple snacks. This week's video is called Where Have the Little Boats Gone?
Oh, the harbor is empty, there's salt in the air. And now that the springtime has come, and the seagulls are playing out there on the moor, but where have the little boats gone? My father once told me when I was a boy that I would grow old and be strong, and I'd fish on the Grand Banks and be just like him. But where have the little boats gone? And each night I pray to the Lord up above, my children will know right right from wrong. And I pray that someday they won't ask me and say, oh, where have the little boats gone? You know, the strength of a seaman is the faith that he holds and the courage his faith has to give. But now we'll all face the future with calm and clear eyes. It will help us our whole life to live. Oh, the years have gone by, I'm a father myself, and it's sad 'cause my kids are too young to find food for to eat and put shoes on their feet. But where have the little boats gone? And each night I pray to the Lord up above, my children will know right from wrong. And I pray that someday they won't ask me and say, oh, where have the little boats gone? Oh, the boats and the trains, they are only remains of the good things that once used to be. Oh, but God made the birds and the flowers and the trees, and God put the fish in the sea. And each night I pray to the Lord up above, my children will know right from wrong. And I pray that someday they won't ask me and say, oh, where have the little boats gone? Where the hardiest people with the hardiest laugh, so we just pretend we don't care. You can break, you can shatter the vase if you will, but the scent of the rose is still there. And each night I pray to the Lord up above, my children will know right from wrong. And I pray that someday they won't ask me and say, oh, where have the little boats gone? Yes, I pray that someday they won't ask me and say, oh, where have the little boats gone?
Mayor George Reed came by the studio and gave his town council report.
Good evening. Council had a meeting on March the 18th, and I'll give you a summary of what took place, I guess. Of course, just about every meeting there are a number of things that keep repeating itself, so I'm going to have to just keep repeating it to you, update you on these various topics. One, of course, is the water treatment plant. The engineers have completed their designs, their engineer drawings, and they presented it to government. Government has reviewed it and sent back a number of questions to the engineers. And the engineers now are in the process of answering these questions. Once that is completed, then the tenders will, then the drawings will go to tenders. They expect that to be done probably by the middle of April, that it will go to tender. Hopefully that'll be the case. If it is, then we'll probably get a fairly quick start on the water project early spring. They expect it to last about 220 days. That's the job duration that they have there, which means, of course, that's about 7 months to take to finish the job. Now the law case, the court case that we got against various companies that were involved in the or fire at the water treatment plant, that is progressing. Recently, as today, our lawyer told us that the discoveries are going to be held now, April the 14th, and once these discoveries are done, then I think it's a short time then before it goes to court, if it's not settled before it goes to court. The gas tax refund that from the federal government, we've applied for that refund. The deadline was, of course, the end of March, and we applied for it, and it has been approved. Our manager and our manager, Blaine Marks, and our foreman, Clayton Mead, that they attended a water safety meeting in Gander for 2 days. They found it very worthwhile. And when they were in Gander, they also went through Gander's water treatment plant, which I think was finished last year, and it's really in the early months of working now. And Gander's water treatment plant, well, Burgeo's is going to be the same as Gander's, except Gander, I think, is about 4 times the size of Burgeo's, but it's basically the same system, except a little smaller. And they're, at this point in time, they're very pleased with their system, having some minor problems, but they're very, very pleased with it. Again, this year we are going to be members of the Tidy Town, sponsored by the Federation of Municipalities. There'll be more about that as spring comes on. We'll talk about the Tidy Town thing. You probably heard on the news, and if you get the Navigator, there's an article in the Navigator, the latest one on the turbot quota that Mr. Barry transferred to Clearwater. I think originally that turbot quota was given to help the Burgeo plant survive and the Council plant, my understanding is. That quota was allowed to be transferred to Clearwater by the federal minister. So it was my understanding that he okayed it, according to the article. You'll probably hear by the time you hear this news, of course, you'll probably hear Mr. Parsons is going to bring that up into the House of Assembly. He's bringing it up on, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday of the past week. It's very difficult to do anything when you have the fishery minister doing stuff like this without even consulting the province, and definitely without even consulting the town. It seems to have nothing to do with it. This week or the past week on Saturday, I attended a joint council meeting in Kippens. There were about 25 people in attendance there. Biggest problem they had, of course, is that garbage disposal. As you know, the provincial government has declared by the end of December of this year, the West Coast pretty much has to go to one area. They're putting a consulting team into place in May, and hopefully they'll have something on by I guess midsummer or late summer. How it's going to affect Burgeo at this point in time, I really don't know. And these people don't know either. So as we get in more information on this, then I'll certainly let you know. You probably also heard that in the, I think it was in the Gulf News or Western Star, that the Minister of Transportation announced that $2.1 million was going to be spent this year on well, it quoted the Burgeo Road as one of the pavement for the Burgeo Road as one of the things. The other thing I think is covering the bridge in Isle of Moat, I believe it is, down that area, putting a top on it, and painting the overpass in Port Bass. I talked to the manager of highways in this western region, Mr. McCarthy, Mr. Cyril McCarthy. He told me that there was no definite amount of highway that would be paved because the amount of money is $2.1 million now. I think pavement runs about $150,000 to $200,000 per kilometer. So how much money is going to be spent on the Burgeo Road? He had no idea at the time that I was talking to him. How much road is going to get paved? Again, he had no idea. But still good news because we will get some payment on the Burgeo Road this year. Hopefully that we'll get pavement, and what he was kind of indicating, that start from the Transcanada, work its way in, and then all the bad spots will be done, hopefully extra. So how much we're going to get out of that, of course, remains to be seen. The ferry terminal is nearly completed. I think they're in a stage of cleaning up out there now, and the pavement will be done in the spring or summer, depending on when they get their money allocated to them. I also asked Mr. McCarthy about is there going to be any more clearing on the Burgeo Road this year, and he said it all depended on how much money the government was going to allocate for the fall work projects. So at this point in time, he couldn't say how much was going to be done, if any, but hopefully something will be done again this fall. We also dealt with 24 pieces of other correspondence that we had to, the town manager had to inform us of, and some letters we had to deal with, and but the town manager, of course, will be writing a reply. Now, there's one other piece of information I'm going to pass on to you, or probably your help. Port Bass is seeking your help. You've all heard, I'm sure, over on the TV and on the radio over the past week or so about Ockyville in Port Bass. And I think it started out that there were, this is sponsored by Craft and Hockey Canada, Cross Canada, and I think it started out that there was something like 1,000 communities were involved. It got narrowed down to 10, of which Port Bass was one of them, and then it got narrowed down to 5, of which Port Bass again was one of them. Now, the top one out of the 5 is going to be announced on I think it was April, sometime in April. This is going to be announced, and they will, but they want you to help by phoning in when it comes time to phone. Now the phoning will start on. Let me give you the dates here. think it's March the 24th, and it's ending on April the 5th. And I will give you the number here now. The toll-free number is 1-888-843-5604. That's your toll-free number. Now you can phone as many times as you want, and you can put it on read-all, and once you've picked it up, phones, dials the number, and you've made your vote, then you hang up, and then you can hit read-all and start it all over again. So they tell me, but you have to hang up in order to break the connection. But every person can phone as many times as you want to, and it all depends on the total number of votes that they get to determine who's going to be the top hockeyville place. Now, what would they get out of this? Well, in becoming 1 in 5, Port-au-Basque won $20,000 for their arena. And if they become the top one in the whole of Canada, they will win $100,000 to do work on their arena. Plus the fact that whenever he starts up the hockey games again, the preliminary hockey games, and one of them will be played in the arena in Port-au-Basque. So it's a great honor for them to win this if they do. And what, of course, they're asking for your help, for everyone here who would like to participate in that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put the time limits on TV, and I'll put the phone number on TV, and I'll also put the website on TV, because not only can you phone, you can also go on the internet and phone that way. So I'll get that put on Channel 10 and within the next week, and you can do it at your leisure. So let's give our neighboring town a boost there. I'm sure there's a lot of hockey fans in this town, and there are a lot of people who would like to help Port-au-Basque, so they certainly would appreciate you phoning. I think you have at least a week to do the phoning, but I'll get all the dates and the numbers, and I'll put it on Channel 10 for you. Well, that's about it for this meeting. Happy Easter to you, and I hope the bunny was good to you. Good night.
This concludes our programming for tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.